Here's my review of Dune Part 2. I'm probably the only person in the whole world who was not looking forward to this movie at all and could not care less. And even watching that, I'm like, visually, this movie is gorgeous in every single way. And as for plot, I'm going to be honest, I've never even seen Part 1. And before you comment, you should definitely watch it. I'm too lazy and I really don't care. And even after watching this movie and liking this movie, it still did not get me invested enough to care enough to watch Part 1. But with all that being said, I thought this movie was pretty good. Where we're with Paul as he's kind of forming this alliance against his betrayers. That's basically extreme oversimplification of this movie. And in terms of what I could talk about, I mean, like everyone knows who's seen this movie is that it's gorgeous. Every frame of it is gorgeous. And this is a movie, I thought, where I was never super invested in any of the characters, for the most part. Like I said, visually, every single frame of this movie is gorgeous. Whether it's like every action scene or every explosion, it's just beautiful. And Austin Butler is so good in this movie. Apparently he only has like around 15 minutes of screen time, not even. But every single time he's on screen, he's just a menace. And he's probably my favorite character in this movie. That just speaks to how good he was, because he's barely in this movie. But every single time he's on screen, you're just like, okay, I'm kind of terrified and I want more. And I mean, every performance in this movie is incredible. Florence Pugh is fantastic. Stellan Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, this movie is so stacked in terms of cast. It's hard to like even point out a single bad. There are no bad performances. Every single one was fantastic. And like I said, visually, just from the costumes, the sets, the sound, everything is just gorgeous. And also, Stellan Skarsgård as Baron. I mean, he's another person where it's just fantastic. It is gorgeous. Every single frame. I really did like the black and white parts. I think those are I don't know. Like, whenever a movie goes kind of like black and white for a choice, I always think it just adds just this distinct look. It just makes it kind of more visually appealing. Like, because it's ironic because it's sucking away the color, but parts of it just kind of looks more beautiful because of that. And like I said, every frame of this movie is gorgeous. And whether it's the ginormous sandworms that you just have this presence of just terror and awe. I mean, everything is just great. It's just a movie where, even though, like, personally, I wasn't really super invested in the plot, I mean, I kind of still wanted to keep watching it because it's just so grand in scale. Every action scene is great, except this movie does do one thing that I can't stand in movies. Like, basically, towards the end, there's this scene between Paul and Austin Butler's character. And Austin Butler's character, he has the opportunity to kill Paul. But then, like, it's one of those things where it's like a gloating thing. And it's just, I hate that in movies. It's like, and then, of course, Paul's able to kind of rise above it. It just, that part, I was watching that in the theater. And literally during that part where he's kind of going on like a little monologue or just like hesitating, it just, I knew exactly what was going to happen. It's so stupid. I hate when that happens in movies, but I mean, that didn't affect thoroughly my enjoyment of the movie. I still thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Zendaya gives an excellent performance as well. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Zendaya. At least maybe I kind of have a little bit of bias of her because I'm just not the biggest fan of her MJ in the Spider-Man movies, but she was still fantastic here. I mean, every performance was fantastic. There's not really much to say. I'm kind of just repeating myself. But yeah, she was great in this. Probably my third favorite character in this. Next, I'd say maybe Paul, then Austin Butler, then Zendaya. But yeah, like I said, this is a movie where it's kind of exactly what I wanted. And I would say it definitely exceeded my expectations because this is a movie where I had absolutely no interest in it and I did not care at all. And even watching it, after I watched it, I'm like, I wouldn't really say I was moved by it like a lot of other people were. Like, it's just really like was just a movie where like I liked it, but it's like I'll never really watch it again. I don't really have like anything in terms of emotional scenes that personally stood out to me. And I know I'm definitely, obviously, in the minority here. But at the end of the day, I still thoroughly enjoyed this movie.